All right, let's take a look at a little exercise on production and purchases budgets. This is pretty straightforward. Maybe a couple little places you could potentially get hung up on. I think if nothing else, this will just kind of give you a little bit of confidence more than anything. So we are going to be looking at production and purchases budgets. Now, I do want to say production budgets are generally very easy to put together, and I don't think you would have any trouble with that. Purchases budgets, another story. This particular question only has raw materials, one type of raw materials at a certain quantity per unit, and then a one price per unit. These kinds of questions can get more complicated if we're dealing with multiple raw material inputs that are at different levels. For example, in our example, we're going to have 5 pounds of a single raw material, or maybe it may not be a single raw material, but they've come up with a total of 5 pounds and they've averaged it out for us at 90 cents. So it's either a composite number, an average, or it is a single material. When they, again, you could see some questions where, we're going to need 5 pounds of this and 2 pounds of that and a pound and a half of this. And then the first material costs a certain amount, second material is a different amount, third material, and so on. Those questions are a little bit more involved, but this one should be fairly straightforward. So anyway, let's get right into it. Um, we are going to start with the production budget, and with this company, it says, I'm right here, it says at the beginning of October, Comfy Cushions had 2,200 cushions. That would be their finished product, the cushions, and 13,500 pounds of raw materials on hand. And then we've got budgeted sales for the next 3 months, October being the first of those, 11, 13, and 16,000 respectively. And so it says that the company wants to have sufficient raw materials on hand at the end of each month to meet 25% of the following month's production requirements and sufficient cushions, again, that's the finished good, on hand at the end of each month to meet 20% of the following month's budgeted sales. 5 pounds of raw materials at a standard cost of 90 cents per pound are required to produce each cushion. Okay, so really about the only thing we could screw up in this is, getting our 25 and 20% backwards. Unit sales, well, they've given it to us here, so all we're going to have to do is just plug that in. But hey, you know what? It's points, right? If we have to do this for real. And then it says desired ending inventory. Well, they tell us, keep in mind, we're dealing with unit sales right here. That's our finished goods figure. So our desired ending inventory says it's going to be 20% of the following month's budgeted sales. So for October, we're going to actually use this 13,000 right here because it says the following month is November. 13,000 times 0.2 is 2,600. And for November, we're going to use the 16,000 for December times 0.2. Okay, and so that's 3,200. And that gives us our finished goods requirements, which is just these two figures here added up. And that first one looks like it's going to be 13,600. And the second one looks like it's going to be 16,200. All right. Then we're going to need to subtract out or less beginning inventory. Now they actually gave us the beginning inventory right here of 2,200. Sometimes these questions will be worded in such a way where they won't do that. They'll just say that this policy has been in place for a while, in which case we could take the 11,000 and then multiply it by the 20%, and that would give us the same 2,200. But they actually gave us the number here, so we'll just plot that in there. And then we would say, okay, our beginning inventory for November was what we would have accounted for back in October, or 20% of this 13,000 here, times 0.2. Okay, so 2,600, and that is a subtraction. So it looks like our production requirements for October are going to be 13,600 minus 2,200. Okay, so that's 11,400. And over here for November, we've got 16,200. Start that again, 16,200 minus 2,600. Going to give us 13,600. Okay, hopefully I didn't have any typos there. I don't think I did. All right, so now it says prepare a purchases budget in units and dollars. Production requirements. So we have to be careful here, because when we talk about a purchases budget, we're no longer dealing with full units. We're dealing with inputs of raw materials. But we can still get this answer fairly easily. We just take this 11,400 for October, and we just simply multiply that by 5 pounds. Okay, and that's going to give us 57,000. And then we're going to do the same thing for November, but we're going to use the 13,600 finished goods units and then multiply that by 5 to come up with 68,000. All right. So desired ending inventory. Okay. Well, if we look back up here in the scenario, it says that they want 25% of the following month's production requirements. So in October, we're focusing on November, and we already have 68,000 on the calculator. So all we have to do is just multiply that by 0.25. Okay, so this 17,000 is 25%, again, of the November production requirements. And so raw material requirements, we're just going to add those two together. I did that in my head. 57 and 17 is 74,000. Less beginning inventory, and they provided that for us here, 13,500 pounds. And also notice it says do not use a negative sign. So let's see here. Purchase requirements in units is going to be the 74,000 minus 13,500. Okay, so that would be 60,500 units, and those are costing us 90 cents a pound. So all we have to do is just multiply by 0.9, 54,450. Okay. All right, and is that it? That is it. Okay, well, let's see, moment of truth. I can't imagine this would be wrong. And we got everything right, so we are all set to go. Might do a look and see if I can find something a little bit more challenging, but that'll be it for this video.